Hi everyone, today we're going to learn about the inverse trig functions. So far we've learned about how to solve for a missing side using the trig functions. Today we're going to learn how to find for a missing angle using the trig functions. And we're going to round our answers to the nearest degree. So for question 1, we're told that we need to use the sine function, and we are given a triangle where we don't know the angle and we know the sides are 55 and 51. So I don't know what the angle measure is. I'm going to just call that x. And then I want to label my two sides. So 51 is across from the angle labeled x, so it's opposite it. And the 55 is opposite the right angle, or opposite the 90-degree angle, which makes 55 the hypotenuse. So setting up our equation like we normally would, our equation would be sine of x equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. Opposite was 51 and hypotenuse was 55. Now normally we would set up a proportion, put it over 1, and cross multiply for x, but in this case we're going to use the inverse function. Because we want to get rid of that sign and solve for x. So the inverse function means that I'm going to use sine of -1, and then I'm going to keep the fraction 51 over 55. That's going to give me x, or my angle. And in order to do this, we're going to use our calculator. And in your calculator, you're going to hit second sine. So when you hit second sine, you'll get the sine of -1. And then in parentheses, you'll put 51 divided by 55. Hit enter, and you're going to get approximately 68. And in this question, we're looking for the missing angle. So we're going to put this as 68 degrees. Number 3, we're using the cosine function. I'm going to start by labeling my angle as x. I can label this 56 as the hypotenuse because it's across from the 90-degree angle. And then that leaves 52. 52 has to be the adjacent because it is next to the x and it's not the hypotenuse. Now we're going to set up our equation. Cosine of x equals adjacent over hypotenuse. My adjacent was 52 and my hypotenuse was 56. Now to get that x and to get rid of the cosine, we're going to do the inverse. Which again just means that I'm hitting cosine -1 and then 52, 56. That will give me x. And again, on your calculator, you'll hit second cosine to get the cosine -1. So when you do that, type in cosine -1, 256, you will get approximately 22 degrees for x. So that angle is 22 degrees. Our last example that we're going to do together we're using the tan function this time. Start by labeling my angle as x. And in this question, the 29 is opposite the angle x, and the 38 is adjacent. Okay, so my equation would be tan of x equals opposite over adjacent. Opposite was 29, adjacent was 38. And then again, I need to do the inverse in order to get the x by itself. So the inverse of tangent, 29 over 38, you're going to plug that into your calculator by hitting the second tan button and then type in 29 over 38. When you do that, you'll get approximately 37 degrees. And that's it for your lesson today. Your homework is going to be to complete all the evens, so 2, 4, and 6.